At a time when we have more access to resources, why can't we seem to maintain healthy habits? After all, your coworker did it, your neighbor a few doors down the street, they did it, and seemingly lots of people in internet land, they seem to have what it takes to do it. Then there's you and me sitting at the other end of the spectrum thinking about sorta kinda doing it until, well, we just stop. Why can't we keep going? Why is it that our attempts at healthy not sticking? But more importantly, how can we overcome the obstacles preventing us from living our best lives? If you are tired of starting back at square one again, then let's dive into the reasons we struggle so after 40 to maintain healthy habits that actually provides us with a better quality of life and practical solutions you can begin to implement right away. Let's do it. 1. Though necessary and inevitable, change is scary and hard. Recall the first time you moved away from home. Perhaps it was to go to college, travel abroad. For me, the first time I departed from home was when I went to military boot camp. What I want you to do is take a moment, think back to some of the thought and bodily sensations that accompanied that experience. For me, when I went to boot camp, I was full of excitement and sheer terror at the same time. The first moment I had the opportunity to call home, oh, I cried. I wanted out. I didn't want to be here anymore. The bed, that's not a bed. The food was yucky. The whole experience, I just wanted out. And that moment, I was highly resistant to change. My resistance to try to understand and reconcile with the fact that change was in the making was making it challenging for me to learn the new habits being taught so that I could get the benefits. Oftentimes, as a default mechanism almost, our minds resist change, even if it's positive. Constantly ducking change over time can start to communicate to our minds and our body that change is bad, wrong, and that we need to protect ourselves from change. Before I started practicing what I'm about to share with you today, I was the queen of telling myself and anyone willing to listen all the reasons I could not do, be, have something I said I wanted. And if you offered me options to address my perceived obstacles, I just came up with more harder reasons that was not going to work for me. Have you ever run into somebody like that? Change requires effort, and let's just put it out there. It's uncomfortable, at least initially. Habits, whether productive or unproductive, create a comfortable routine that our minds and bodies become used to, accustomed to. So how can we build routines for these productive habits, habits that we actually stick to? Solution? One of the analogies I find myself using in my practice is this. Imagine there is a room. In this room, there are clothes strewn all about, on the bed, on the floor, just everywhere. And you've dropped an expensive pair of diamond earrings. What would be the best, most effective way to search for your earring? Haphazardly or slow and steady, meticulously almost. The same goes with habits. Focus less on the grand finale of the habit change. Instead of trying to overhaul your entire lifestyle overnight or within a week, thinking you need to have a well-established morning routine, bedtime ritual, exercise regimen, Pinterest-worthy meals. Because that's scary. That's overwhelming. Don't do that. Whether it's increasing your hydration by drinking a glass or two of mineral-infused water every 2 hours, or say you want to counteract the disease that is sitting, you might engage in simply standing and taking some deep breaths after you've taken 3 calls or before you go into your next meeting, virtual or in person. Even standing and stretching after each meal represents a small slice of a larger habit, and it's much more obtainable. See how that works? The magic of it is that small victories build momentum and train our brains to accept and stick with change more readily. 2. Oftentimes, we aren't able to stick with nor maintain the healthy habits that we've acquired due to faulty goals. What do I mean? Have you ever followed a meal or workout plan that said that if you did a certain type of things for 7 days or more, some kind of miracle upon miracles was going to happen? At the end of those 7 miraculous days, there were some favorable byproducts, but it wasn't the miracle you wanted, so it was cut. I know I have hands down been guilty of it. Wanting, craving instant gratification. Anytime I do 10 or so sit-ups, I am expecting to see a 6-pack set of abs the moment I get out the shower and get dressed for the day. But yeah, that's not happening. I don't want to hear it, as true as it is, but healthy habits involve some level of delayed gratification, i.e., long-term focus goals needs to come in and take over. We simply need to nix some of the instant gratification fantasizing that we allow ourselves to partake in. Ditching our habits at the first or second sign of discomfort or inconveniences reinforces our tendency to prioritize immediate rewards over long-term benefits. And that can make it difficult to stick with healthy habits. We live in a world of instant gratification where the payoff for healthy habits often seems distant compared to more immediate pleasures. See, I grew up in the 70s, so I blame the invention of microwave popcorn and the death of layaway. They stripped away the excitement and buildup of watching those little orange, yellow kernels become white, puffy clouds ready for hot melted butter, or ticking off the days on the calendar until I made that last payment and I could pick up my salt and pepper jacket like everybody. But really, how do we shift this mindset? How do we get comfortable with being okay to take the step-by-step approach over the slingshot method when it comes to our health? Solution: to break the habit of seeking instant gratification over long-term, more sustainable goals, I had to turn up the volume on my self-awareness to begin to recognize who, what situations, or scarcity beliefs I was allowing to cause me to react with unnecessary urgency. As a former people pleaser, one of the good things I learned and practiced to move from this state of existence was to pause and take several moments to evaluate the deeper layers of my why for needing that something to arrive in such a hurry. It is a powerful thing. Pausing affords us the opportunity to make better conscious decisions. Pausing lessens the fixation on immediate results. In its place, we can begin to establish supportive expectations with built-in processes for anticipated temporary obstacles that are inherent to living life. Learning to pause and evaluate my action, all of them, gave me more insight into me and other places and spaces I let instant gratification dictate my action or lack thereof. Here's something else you can use to help you win the battle against instant gratification. Know that the rewards will come. It will. Our job is to encourage ourselves to keep trusting the process. Can you do that? Can you allow yourself time to trust the process? 3. Are you aware that our environment and social circles can either support or hinder our efforts to maintain our healthy habits? I wasn't always so self-aware, which is why I didn't recognize that when I spent time at certain places with different sets of people, the behaviors I engaged in fluctuated. I have an aunt, I love you, who keeps all the candy dishes in her house stocked with good goods. Before I even have the chance to become self-aware, I've already eaten a handful from each of those bowls at least twice. Yet when I am around my friends who are more fitness-minded, my behaviors scream, hey, I'm with them. I am cognizant, checking in, asking my digestion if it wants certain foods, eating slower, and listening to the signals that I've had enough. Even at home, the place where I have the most control and should have the most success, sometimes my husband and I are playing the if you're having dessert, I'm having dessert game. If you were to take a moment to do a survey of the social and environmental encounters you are faced with daily on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the least supportive and 10 being highly supportive, how supportive are the current and environmental influences in your life? We are in agreement that our environment plays a significant role in shaping our habits, from workplace snacks, social outings, to our own home. So, how can we navigate environments that aren't conducive to healthy living? Solution: first, get clear on one or two habits that seem to fall off during those times. For example, if staying hydrated and alcohol does not count is not a problem for you during those times, that frees you up mentally to give more awareness to the habits yelling, pick me, right? Since our brain isn't bogged down with a checklist of things to watch out for. Now that you know the habit that needs your attention, construct a plan for that habit ahead of time, before you are in the thick of those situations. These days, when I go to my aunt's house, the way her house is set up, if I go to the right, I run smack dab into 3 candy dishes. But if I go to the left, no candy bowls. My plan, as I'm driving to her house, I am reminding myself of my plan, which is as soon as I step in the door and hug her and love on her, of course, I go left first. As a backup plan, I have looped in my husband and sons. If they see me reaching for those dishes, they give me the mom look. That gives me just enough time to drop into self-awareness mode for conscious decision making. Your plan might mean that you are preparing and maybe sharing snacks that support your goals. If working out is one of those habits that you want to really nail down and stick to, perhaps having your gym things already packed and ready when dining out, predetermined to have either one dessert or one drink, but not both. These are the types of proactive steps that can help ensure you're not caught off guard and helps maintain consistency despite external influences. I see you, I hear you, and I understand that at times change can feel complex and overwhelming, leaving you unsure where to start or what to do. I have an entire playlist of healthy habits for us over 40 so you can begin to feel good within yourself, so you'll want to keep doing good for yourself. I'll see you here next.